What did the government do? Fucking what did they not do? Besides putting me on hold for an hour and a half, answering the phone, giving me somebody else's personal information, and then hanging up on me when I told them that they were talking to the wrong person, after having already transferred me. I'm just trying to get my child insurance. This is fucking bullshit. Also, Yiggy, thank you so much for the first. Hi, Solus. I am so mad. I am heated. I am... We're something. And it's nothing good. I am not happy. I'm mad as fuck, actually. This sucks. I'm upset that I started stream late because I started stream almost over an hour late because I spent an hour and a half on the phone with these fucks about something that should have been taken care of back in February. I'm mad, man. I know Fleetwood Mac makes it sound like I'm not mad, but I'm mad. Ugh. Some fucking bullshit, man. Yeah, I got the toggles on. I'm pissed, man. Ugh. I'm annoyed as hell. This is, like, frustrating. I hope y'all are having a good day. I'm trying to have a better one. I'm playing Neopets. We'll play something else, too. But right now, I just want to play Neopets. I feel like it's the only thing that would make me feel better. Oh, no, it didn't get settled at all. I don't have the time to call them back. They close at 6. And it's 5:55. I ate. I was so mad that I sat down after they hung up on me. Gore brought me food, and I sat down and I ate the food. And by the time I was done, I had like 30 minutes to call them back and get this figured out before they closed for the day. Yeah, they fucking hung up on me. Well, he answers the phone and then starts talking to me about, oh, is your baby a newborn? Is your daughter a newborn? And I'm like, what? No, like, I just got transferred to you. I haven't even told you any of my information yet. And he's like, wait, are you not Miss So-and-so? And I was like, no. I think you have the wrong person. I don't think you meant to answer my hold. I was on hold. I've been on hold. I haven't spoken to anyone yet. I don't think you meant to answer me. I think you meant to answer somebody else that you put on hold. And he was like, oh, okay. Is it okay if I put you on hold while I figure this out? And I was like, yeah, sure. Fucking put me back on hold, whatever. And it was silent for a little bit. I was waiting for the hold music to start, and then he hung up on me. And I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. So now I just know stuff about somebody else's daughter. I just know medical information about somebody else's kid. But never got anything figured out about my kid, who has specialist appointments in like 3 weeks and needs insurance. And I need an insurance card for her before I go to those specialist appointments. Ugh. I'm drinking my fucking Baja Blast and just stressed. I need y'all to know I filed for this new insurance stuff back in February. And I called a month later and said, hey, what the fuck is going on with this? It says it should take 45 days. It's been longer than 45 days at this point. What's going on? And she was like, oh no, you're right. It has been longer than 45 days. I'll escalate that for you. And I was like, okay, what does that mean? She's like, well, I'm escalating it, so that means somebody will go look at it. And they'll reach out to you in a few days, in probably about 2 or 3 days time, if they need any additional information. If not, it should be solved within the week. And I'm like, all right, great. Should be solved within the week. Fantastic. I love that. It's been 3 weeks. I haven't heard from anybody. So I called them back today, and I'm like, hey, I heard I was supposed to hear from somebody within the week 3 weeks ago. What the fuck's up with that? And she was like, I don't know. Let me look. So she looks, and she's like, well, I see it's been escalated, but now it's overdue, like long overdue, and it still shows that nobody's even looked at your application. So I'm gonna have to transfer you somewhere else to have them deal with that. And I was like, all right, bet. That's fine. Whatever. As long as wherever you're transferring me to can actually help me. And she was like, absolutely they can. I'm like, okay, cool. So she puts me on the transfer, and I'm sitting there for an hour and 37 minutes before this. Ugh. I'm so upset. I'm just like, I'm gonna fucking pop somebody's skull. Hell, I might pop my own skull with the fucking stress. It doesn't have to be this hard. It doesn't have to be this hard. And yet here we are. Don't mind me, I'm grabbing, shit that people don't need, or like trash out of here to throw away. Well, if I can. I may have grabbed too much trash already. Yeah, I hate dealing with health insurance stuff, and I'm so frustrated because when I got my health insurance through them, they were like, I had my health insurance card within a week. Within the week, I had my health insurance card. So, I don't know if I'm just like, what is so much more difficult about getting my child her insurance? I don't know, this is the second time they've fucking played me on some shit about my daughter specifically, and it just, I do well, but I don't do well when people are making my daughter struggle. A mafia move? Explain that, please, for me. Please explain that to me. Because what? Big dicks in your ass is bad for your health. So true. Oh, God. I'm just trying to get rid of unnecessary stuff out of here. Don't tell me that somebody took this item and then leave the item there. What the fuck? Yeah, who's stealing my trash? I need this. Ooh, I'll take that. Well, or I won't. I think I took too much trash earlier, and so now it's banning me from taking any more trash. I think is what's happening. I think I took too much trash. Well, we have your drugs, but you seem to be filing other drugs at this other space. Oh my fucking god. That's... yeah, that's some mafia ass shit. What? Give me more trash. It won't let me have trash. Why won't it let me have any trash? My feelings are hurt. I just want some trash. I'm not even trying to take anything that anybody would actually want. I'm just trying to take the trash. Maybe I should go do something else for a little bit. Alright. But yeah, no, that's some mafia ass shit. That is ridiculous, actually. Said that to me on the phone. I'd never felt so openly exploited before. Ugh. Ugh. I hate that shit. I hate that shit. It's the worst, man. What the hell is pyramids? I don't know how to play pyramids. What are the rules? May I have rules, please? Oh, shit. It opened up a tiny little rules thing. Yeah. Face up. Oh, I do know how to play pyramids, okay. Oh, yeah, that would fucking piss me the hell off. Are you kidding me? The way I'd be so heated. Like, what the fuck? That would piss me off to no end, actually. I hate when people do that shit. I don't like when people fuck with me. I especially don't like when people fuck with my kid. Like, Bunny's doing really good. But she still has specialists that she has to go see that are thousands of dollars out of pocket without this specific insurance that she's had since birth, and it's been fine, but they've recently just been trying to fuck with me, and I don't appreciate it. I really don't. It really sets me off. I don't like it at all. So Like, she's got to go to the eye doctor, or not the eye doctor, the hearing doctor, her hearing doctor, in like a month because her last hearing test didn't do great. She can hear, but there was some concerns that her hearing wasn't like at the range that it needed to be. And we weren't sure if it was just because she had recently been sick and so her ears were just clogged, or if like we were running the risk of it getting worse over time and progressing into deafness. Which if so, it's completely fine. We'll learn sign language. It's not the end of the world. She already speaks a little bit of sign. It's not the end of the world, but it's something we want to be on top of and make sure that we get her the help that she needs as soon as she needs it. And so she's got another hearing test coming up here soon. That is going to be like $1,000 out of pocket if I don't have insurance. And I have insurance, but she doesn't have her specific insurance that will fully cover all of it. And so I'm like, don't fuck with me right now. Do not fuck with me right now unless you are planning on paying for her fucking meds. Don't fuck with me right now. It's so ridiculous. Yeah, insurance is fucking stupid and it makes me want to cry every time I have to deal with it. And I've had to deal with these guys so much since February and it's just, I hate it. I hate every minute of it. Every time I have to do it, I dread it. And usually they manage it pretty quick, or at least they're able to give me an answer fairly quickly about like what's going on. But it's always, oh, this is the problem. You wait to be contacted. And then nobody ever contacts me. And I'm like, can I not have to wait to be contacted? Like, could y'all just like take me out with a shotgun if you're never gonna actually call me back? Like, please, just take me out. Just shoot me first. I'd appreciate just being shot at this point. At least that would be honest. But it is what it is. And I'm gonna get it figured out. I always do. It's a part of being a mom. You gotta get it figured out, even if it pisses you the hell off. So I'm gonna get it figured out. I'm just tired of it. I'm just tired of it. So we're playing some Neopets as a de-stressor because God knows I need it. Ugh. This ain't regular, nice ain't regular. Seems to take me out to the ocean. Thank you so much for the belated Mother's Day wishes. I really do appreciate it. I am not doing Mother's Day stuff until tomorrow, actually. So yesterday was just kind of a casual day at home. I still didn't stream. I was gonna stream, but one, I didn't know what to stream for Mother's Day. I was like, what do you stream for Mother's Day? And two, I took a nap with Bunny, and when I woke up, it was like 4 p.m. And I was like, I'm having a really good time just laying in bed with my daughter. So I ended up canceling stream just to lay in bed, and me and Gore watched a couple episodes of Bridgerton. And it was just a nice kind of casual, because we currently live with family, and so they were all out of the house doing Mother's Day stuff. So it was just me, Gore, and the baby. It was just our little family, and it was just nice to just spend time together for a little bit. So no complaints, truly. I'm in denial, deep in denial. I'm in denial, deep in denial. I felt bad canceling stream last minute, but I genuinely was just like, I don't want to get up. Like, I usually am okay with getting up out of bed to stream. I love streaming. It makes me super happy. But yesterday I was like, this baby is so warm. I don't want to leave this warmth of this child. How often do you just get to lay in bed with the thing that you created from scratch and just genuinely enjoy just it just being the two of you, you know? Like, I get that during nap times most days. God, I was so close. I get that during nap times, but usually by then I'm so exhausted that as soon as she falls asleep, I fall asleep. We're in our moody toddler stage. so she fights me on everything right now. So I don't really get to enjoy naps the way I did when she was a potato and slept all the time. Now it's like a fight to get her to take a nap, and then as soon as she is asleep, you're like, oh, thank God the fight is over. And then I pass out. So I don't really get to just enjoy it very often, but when I woke up, she was still asleep, and so I just got to enjoy the feeling of her just laying on my chest, and it was very comforting. So I have no complaints. Also, I'm probably going to switch into Stardew Valley. I've been in a real big Stardew Valley kick lately. Don't know why, but I really have been. I just wanted to play some Neopets for a little bit. I'm also trying to trade. I'm trying to give away a Neopet that I zapped into a new color, and I DM'd somebody about it because I saw that that was a Neopet that they were really wanting on an adoption list. Yeah, Neopets as adoption lists. We'll get to it. However, I have not heard back from them yet, so I think a part of me was hoping that maybe while I was streaming on Neopets, they'd reach out. That does not seem to be the case, but it's alright. Oh, by the way, I've got more Neopets than the last time I played. I've got my OG, my Cyber Peach girl, which, by the way, is my childhood dreamie now. She's still listed as a speckled because technically she is still speckled under this. I need to get a fairy paintbrush to paint her with so that she's actually not speckled. However, this is my dream Neopet. This is a Fairy Zweetalk unconverted, because they have converted art, which I don't like nearly as much. So I've turned her into my dream, and we're zapping this one, so don't worry about the pet. This is for Bunny! I made a Psy Bunny specifically for Bunny, and as she grows up, I will be changing the Psy Bunny's design and layout. Is Ducky done for the semester? I don't think she's done quite yet, but I think she will be, like, here in, like, a week or so. You can text her and ask. She's been online all day. You can DM her. I've talked to her a couple times today. We've been talking about Pokemon cards. She's making me want to go and buy Pokemon cards today. But I made this Psy Bunny on Psy Bunny Day for Bunny, my daughter. I haven't found a pet that works well for her yet, so we're still working on it. Apollo was gifted to me by a friend. Based off because of my love for the Greek gods. And then of course I have Soroktonos, his pet. I then made Artemis so that he wasn't alone without his sister, and I'm very proud of how her design turned out. I think it looks really good. I've got Peach, which is based off of my old VTuber model. She is a pink cowgirl in a field of corn. You know. And she's got a Fritter, which is a plushy kayak. Is Peach Fritter. Saint Owl I created specifically for the Christmas season. I'm not super attached to her, however. I am very attached to her pet. So I don't know if I'm gonna keep her or not. I haven't really decided. The answer's probably not, but you know. Shokito I adopted from the pound, and I am very attached to him. He's got Monster, he's a plushy spider. I'm very attached to Shokito. Shokito stays. And then I've got 2 Zap pets right now. So I just zapped this guy. This is Tributon. I just zapped him into a sponge this morning. And then his pet he had when I adopted him from the pound. But he got zapped into a sponge at like 3 a.m. this morning. Lucky dude. So I'm trying to find him a new home, and I'm currently zapping the hell out of her. She is inspired by my current Bridgerton fixation, so you know how that is. Damn. There we go. Oh, you DM'd her? Nice. So yeah. Trying to get some of these babies homes. I also got this as a morphing potion, and it goes for 3 million Neo points. I got it from a random event today, so your girl is rich. At least in Neopets. I'm not even that rich in Neopets money. It's very easy to go broke in this game. It's crazy easy to go broke in this game, actually, especially when you're like me and you like to customize, but you don't want to actually spend like money on this game. And don't talk about the fact that I have extra pet slots because that implies that I spent money on this game, like actual human money. Don't worry about it. But whenever it comes to customizing your pets, I try not to spend any unnecessary amounts of money on it. I would if I had more money, honestly, but I try not to. I try to be responsible, but it does heal a little bit of my inner child being able to buy the things that I couldn't buy when I was a kid and played Neopets. So from time to time, I will spend like $5 or so on the game itself so that I can like have something that I know would make my inner child happy. I try not to do it super often though, because God knows I'd go broke. Damn. My luck today is kind of on or off. Oh yeah, I remember being a kid and always wanting to buy in-app stuff, but like my parents were, no, don't do it. Oh, I did it. But my parents were frugal as fuck, which not a bad thing now that I'm an adult. But at the time, I was like, are we broke? And to be fair, for the longest time, my mom was a single mom. Oh, God, I was not thinking. My mom was a single mom, so the answer to that question is yes. She worked 3 jobs just so that we could afford rent. So yes, we were broke. But as a kid, like, how do you don't know that, you know? As a kid, you're just like, what the fuck? Why can't I have this thing that I want? I'm sure my own child will ask me if we're broke when she's older. She's gonna be like, why can't I have this thing? Sarah has this thing. Are we busted? Like, are we broke as hell? God, I can imagine not being broke and having a kid that's like, why can't I have this? Are we broke? Like, my mom was able to be like, yes. Sorry, honey, we're poor. Yeah, honestly. We are lower class. You'll know what that means eventually. And when you learn what that means, you'll remember this conversation, and it'll make you feel guilty for asking. Such is the life of a child of a low-income family. You always feel guilty for the things you asked for as a kid. When you're an adult and you realize that you're poor. You grew up poor. We are slaves to the system, sweetheart. Absolutely. You know, I want to be so real. Lady Gaga and Beyonce did this song together, and the level of cunt is a level that I don't think we will ever see again, truly. Because how do you one-up this? This is like the dream collab. How do you one-up that? Not talking anymore. Not on the dance floor. Oh, of course you'd give me a 3. Ooh. I say ooh, that didn't really help me much. Yes, I do know the Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged parody of this. I was an avid Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged watcher growing up. Little Karibo was my life, to the point that I, regrettably now, based my email, my like personal email address, around Shadyvox. Which is so unfortunate, considering all the shit that came out about Shadyvox. You've met Little Karibo? That's truly a dream, actually. I'm kind of jealous. Gaga should get an apprentice so we can ascend and cunt as society long after. It's so true. Yeah, no, I really wanted to voice act when I was growing up specifically because of Little Karibo and Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged. I did my abridged impression to him, and he was like, okay, Yiggy, you're like legitimately one of the like best voice actors I know personally. Like, you are so fucking good at that shit. It's honestly a little terrifying. So I'm not at all surprised to hear that he complimented you on that, because you are insanely good at it. Pets for the Peeps had a rough day. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I really do. It's been a day. I have a infant who's becoming a toddler, and the amount of attitude this child has developed over the last 3 days has me scared for my future. I feel like Yu-Gi-Oh! The Abridged series inspired so many people's voice acting journeys, and honestly, what an honor to be able to, like, know that something you did for fun inspired so many people to start wanting to voice act. She got it from you, I know. And every time she gets sassy with me, I'm like, ugh, it's me. I'm looking at myself. And specifically because she gets sassy about food. That's what the biggest tantrums are over, y'all. My child throws the biggest, meanest tantrums over food. Over the fact that I don't share food with her. It's like a meltdown until somebody shares their food with her. Girl is a fucking black hole. She never stops eating. Oh yeah, Gord did tell me that he wanted to play D&D with you. I completely forgot about that. I completely forgot about that. Yiggy, I need you to know, you jump scared Gore the first time we streamed Stardew Valley together. Because, 1, he had never heard your voice before. 2, he did not know that you were a trans. I don't know why it came out as a trans. What the fuck, mouth? I was trying to say he did not know that you were trans. And so the first time you did a deep male voice, he told me that he thought it was a soundboard. And he was like, man, how does she have so many soundboard like things just ready to go? And I was like, baby, that was her voice. I need you to know, Yiggy, Gore did not know that you were trans at all. Gore did not pick up on that at all. So, Gore legitimately just thought you had a very specific soundboard. It was so funny. We had a whole conversation about it after stream, and he was like, oh! Yeah, Gore wants to run a stream D&D with other VTubers. He wants to run D&D with a bunch of VTubers, which I've told him I'm down to do, but unfortunately I don't have a lot of friends, which makes it kind of hard to set something like that up, like, because you need people, and I don't know people. Your child craves sustenance. She is wasting away. She seems to think she is. That child fucking eats like her stomach is not real. Like, it's like a not real thing that exists. It's as if it just falls straight into her mouth and then straight out her ass. It's fucking insane. Damn, you got soundboard specifically with your friends' names? I know, it cracked me up, I need you to know. Gore was so confused and I was just over here giggling like a little fool. I know several people we both know who would be down. That's fair. But in my defense, I know them by name. I do not know them well. So it feels weird to reach out to people that I know and have interacted with and like have spoken with from time to time, but I'm not like, oh Jesus, but I'm not like super close to and be like, hey, D&D. She just ate an entire banana and still wants more. Oh my god. I promise you, that girl's stomach is never ending. They have so many D&D games going on. Yeah, I kind of picked up on that when I was in that server. They tend to keep a lot on their belts. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing. It's something I picked up. They got like D&D, and they got like the role plays and stuff. So, are you sure this isn't Luffy's child? She might be. I will say, when she's not tantruming, which isn't super often, I'm being a little dramatic, but she does throw mad tantrums whenever she does. But when she's not tantruming, she's actually very agreeable. She smiles all the time. She laughs a lot. She's a very agreeable child for the most part. Ooh. Ooh. Fuck. I thought I was gonna look out there. The answer is no. Did Gore do this roleplay when she was made? No. The roleplay ended a good year, a good couple of years before she was born. Also, not Gore's roleplay just becoming a jab at all times. Burr. It's really funny to me. I actually brought it up earlier to Gore, and Gore was like, please, please, God. Just my shit, that's my whip. I don't know what she's saying there. That's my weed? That's my weave? I don't know. I've never really known. Bunny D. Luffy? True. Honestly, kind of a sick name for your kid. Oh, thank you. Unfortunately, my child is not a D. She is an L. Her middle name starts with an L. So, our next kid's gonna have to have a D middle name, though, now that I'm thinking about it. Unfortunately, none of us are Ds in this house. Our next kid actually might end up with a One Piece name. So, maybe also making them a D would be too much. Set that kid up to top of the government. Oh, Bunny will probably do that. I don't think her sibling's gonna have to worry about that at all. That girl's feral. Gotta get a name change, but just change my legal middle name. I came very close to doing that. Like, I know you jest. I actually did come very close to changing both my first and middle name. I don't go by my first name anymore, actually, at all. So, the only people who call me that is family. So it's essentially a dead name for me. And that's just because my family doesn't like to respect my wishes. You know, normal family things. Bunny will become a dictator. Oh, I believe it. You could name your child. Okay, so if we have another girl, we're most definitely probably going to end up using a One Piece name. However, if we have a boy, that name has still been undecided. So, and I'm only having 2 kids. I'm not doing all this shit again. This shit traumatized me the first time around. I'm only doing it one more time. So we only have one last shot for this. Man, this round is ass, actually. Who the fuck on Facebook? What the hell? Sorry, sometimes my phone gets notifications and it jump scares me. I don't want to name our son Zoro. No, not really. Also, you turned down Liam today, and you're gonna recommend Zoro? You turned down Liam, which I don't even like, but still, you turned it down. You turned down a whole list of Irish boy names. Yeah! turned down a whole list of Irish boy names. A whole list. Oh, Mona Lisa. Hold on. I'm gonna pull up a list of boy names, and we're just gonna watch Gore say no to all of them, because that's what happens every single time. We have always struggled to agree on a boy name, but girl names, easy. We are not naming our child Mihawk. Absolutely not, actually. Ace is not a bad name. But then we'd have two baby, or we'd have two. We're not naming our son Law. If my son doesn't find the One Piece, I don't want him. Okay, but if we named our child Ace, then we'd have 3 people in the household that have A names. And that's too many A names for me. You go with Bonnie Diantha. We can't do Diane at all. We can't do anything with Diane. We have so many Dianes in our house. We cannot do anything with Diane. Law is a cool name. No, we're not naming our kid Law. Absolutely the fuck not. Are you being so for real? Okay, so like I said, we already have a girl name picked. If we have a girl, more likely than not, we're gonna go with Robin. So... You're naming him Trafalgar? It's so true, though. But no, if we have a girl, we're probably gonna name her Robin, so I can have a birdie to go with my bunny. So we'd need to just find a middle name for Robin if we were having a girl. Boys are where we struggle to agree on a name. My sweet boy Vegapunk, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you while you sleep. You sleep in my bed. I will get you. Oh, my precious boy, Garp. Oh, God. Do I need to pull up a list of One Piece boy names? It's a fish. No, carp is a fish. Yeah, what the fuck is a garp, actually? Yeah, you're right. Second child? Uh-huh. Go and create a legacy crocodile. Name is Ichiji. I would never, ever name any of my kids after Sanji's asshole brothers. Yeah, it's Niji. It's Niji was the second one. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, Ichi-ni. Yeah, Ichiji is the first one. Niji, Sanji. Nijiji. Caesar Clown, full word, full title. You want our child to have the name Caesar Clown, a middle name, and then our 2 last names? That's 5 names, Gore. What child needs 5 names? You sweet baby boy Buggy. I'd actually do that, though, is my problem. I'd be like, Buggy's a cute name for a baby. He'll be the funniest kid in his class. Yeah, we gotta save some names for the rest of chat for when they inevitably end up knocked up. Do you like how I say inevitably, like nobody has a choice? It just happens. Don Quixote? Is that how that name is pronounced? I read that. Oh. I just got another potion? Um... 5 million? That's my second random potion of the day. What the fuck? He's the windmill man? Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I guess my luck's high today. That's my second transmog potion of the day. Fucking sorry, hold on 1 second. I'm screenshotting this. Part 2, Electric Boogaloo, I guess. Yeah, I fucking guess my luck's high today. Damn. Maybe I should just fucking keep playing. That's crazy. My sweet lad Kaido. Borsalino is an awful fucking name. I just want a cute Irish boy's name. Is that too much to ask? Am I asking for too much? Is it because I'm Irish? Is it because I'm black? Is that why I can't get what I want? Oh, boy. I'm not allowed to have what I want because I'm Irish. This is what happens when the Irish ask for too much. They get fucking cucked at every turn. Bonnie's Irish? I don't think it is. It's Scottish. It's Scottish. Potato, potato, potato. I'm gonna kill you. God, you let the Irish ask for anything, and all they want to do is name their child an Irish name. Bunny's actual name isn't even Irish, it's fucking English. Or German. Shanks is Irish? It's a Scottish surname that means shinbone. It's for a man with long legs. That man's got something else that's long. It ain't just his legs, I can tell you that. Oh boy. Just name your kid Shanks. Oh. God. The way my mother would sob. What, Gore? What? You have a problem with what I just said? No take backsies. Shanks has got many a long thing. For me, specifically. My son, Magellan. Magellan? How the fuck is his name pronounced? Again, I only read that arc. I think it's Magellan? Curmudgeon? Man, this is ass. Literally toxic masculinity. Alright, hold on. Male, One Piece, characters. Alright, we're gonna boot up the One Piece wiki. 1 second. Cavendish? Ugh. Okay, so we can name our child Yamato. Sorry, I know Yamato is male, but seeing Yamato on the male screen jump scared me for a second. I can't do Edward. I'm just gonna think of fucking, Fullmetal Alchemist. Yamato jump scare. I've got his ass on my desk. I've got a figure of him on my desk right next to me, and yet, for whatever reason, seeing him on the list of male characters scared me. He's a dude. He's a man. That's a whole ass man right there, and I know this. But for whatever reason, maybe it's just because of the way the fandom treats him, I just wasn't expecting to see him there. And it scared me. I just call him him because that's what everybody else in series calls him. So I'm calling him a him until people in series stop calling him a him. Who am I to argue with Monkey D. Luffy? Truly. He's trans Odin. I think he is trans Mask, but I think he's in that phase where like you look up to somebody so much where you're not sure if you want to be them or if you want to like be trans. You know what I mean? Like, do I want to be that person specifically or do I just want to be a man? You know what I mean? I think he's stuck in that middle phase. Yeah. Yamato's an egg, exactly. I'm glad you knew what I was trying to get at there. He's in that do I want to be that man or do I just want to be a man phase. No, I'm not afraid of the fall. Perla Bear, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the Dog Pound. I hope you're having a great day. We're currently talking about good names to name my future child. My third child. Jesus. 3 of these bitches. Well, technically 2. Whatever. Oh, thank you. I'm not currently pregnant. We were talking about the fact that I have plans in my future to have a second child. And me and my partner cannot agree on a male name. We have a girl's name picked out, but we can't seem to agree on a male name. And now everybody is recommending to me One Piece character names. But I hope you're having a good day. I meant to delete that, but I pushed enter instead. No, you're right. Gore should get on it. Maybe when we're not living where we're currently living. But, you know, whatever. We've had a baby in worse conditions. His mom would, like, fucking have me by the neck if I had another baby right now. First son of the sea, Jinbei. That's his whole first name. The whole title. I have lucked out on random grabs, so I'm just waiting for this game to try and steal something from me. Eustace Kid. Is it weird to have a kid named Kid? Like, to have a baby named Kid? I feel like that's a strange choice. Personally. Oh my god. Oh my god, it gave my Neopet depression! Oh, random event just gave my Neopet depression. That's great. I gotta pet the shit out of her now. That's really just life, I think. Sometimes you just be playing solitaire, you'd be playing pyramids, and you just get hit with a wave of sadness, you know? I feel like Neopets is getting a little too real with that. Suddenly, someone let me out of my cage. Skedaddle, skedoodle, your pet now has depression. True. How unfortunate. We'll go queen and immediately regret going queen, but whatever. Well, shit. Oh. Yeah, I played myself. Alright, let's go back to male characters. Let's see, what do we got? We got, Abdullah, Absalom, Agatagi, Agsali. We can't do A names. We already talked about that. Okay, we're gonna go to B. Babe. Babe's a good name. Who the fuck is Babe? Hold on. Ooh. Oh, Mr. 4. I was like, whose man's is this? We can do Basil. I love the name Basil. And I also love Hawkins. Can we do Basil? Can we name our son Basil? Gore, thoughts on the name Basil? Name him Senor Pink and curse him for life? Absolutely not. Hold on. Hold on. We're gonna wait for Gore. We're gonna wait for Gore. I need Gore to be here or else there's no point. Chat, yell at me when Gore gets back. Cause I'm gonna get sucked in to fucking pyramids. Let's see. I need Ducky to watch One Piece so that she understands what the fuck we're talking about at any given moment. She would never do it. She would absolutely never do it, but I need her to. We gotta get her! Whoa. Whoa, wait a minute. Suddenly this became very aggressive. I will be honest, I don't think One Piece is up Ducky's alley at all. Which is unfortunate, but I get it. She's too busy watching the new season of Black Butler. Sometimes Neopets runs so slow. I feel like I'm fighting for my life. Ooh, nice. It's about to not be so nice once it loads. I have to pee. I didn't pee before stream today. Oh my god. My Neopet legitimately got depression from that. I'm not gonna win this. Oh, yeah, no, there's no way. There's no way. It's 3 more cards in pile, 2 more cards in pile, 1 more card in pile, and just like that, we've lost. Shit. Alright, 5. Oh, I just realized Gore's probably actually doing bath time. And if that's the case, it's gonna be hard for him to be present. Which is okay. I feel like anytime I do streams like this where I'm just playing my own music, a bunch of people show up with every intention to just vibe. And I love that. It makes me so happy. Just the idea that people show up just to like vibe to my music. I don't know. There's something about it. It's good for me. I don't know, I think it just makes me, I think it's validating. Makes me feel like I have good taste, you know? I like the name Basil. But I don't think Gore would agree. Basil-y Basil? Oh, speaking of Irish music. Or just Irish in general. My voice, I discovered recently, has gotten so much deeper than I remember it being. I think having a baby just, like, fucking made me MILF. It said, we must MILFify this woman. Start with her voice. And then it did. And now here I am. Basil is a Yigi approved name? Fuck yes. No, so we watched, okay, so on one of my streams recently, we watched my V-Shoujo audition tape, which I don't feel like was that long ago, but in reality, it was like almost 3 years ago now. I sound like a completely different bitch. That's a completely different woman. Like, that's a soft-spoken, like, soft-voiced woman. I don't know who that is. It was honestly startling. Like, I don't sound like that at all anymore. So it was definitely something. So I don't know if me having a baby made my voice different or if just age caught up to me, but my voice now is much deeper than my voice then. So something milfified me, whether it be time or circumstance, is for only God to know, apparently. But holy shit. I'm not gonna win this one either. Unless one of these is a 10, I'm fucked. Yeah, fuck me. Oh my god. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm all night long. I don't know the lyrics to this song. I'm not even gonna pretend like I do. It's just catchy. Some songs I just have on my playlist because they're just catchy, not because I actually know any of the lyrics to them. Ooh, everything you need. I have to find the like edited video. I think it's in my Dropbox somewhere. I'm actually kind of curious if it's in my Dropbox somewhere. Gore, names from One Piece. Basil. Basil. For a boy, Basil. So complicated. But Hawkins, Gore. I love Hawkins. All I do is fuck. Get drunk. 3 out of 10! Fuck. Loving you. Beppo? Yeah, maybe I do want to name our child after a seasoning. Beppo? Boo? There's a character named Boo? Wait. Oh yeah, there sure is. Brand new? It's like Matthew, but stupider. God, that man's forehead got bigger. That's crazy. Brew? It's like Drew, but also stupider. Oh god. Byron? Ugh, Byron. Alright, let's look at the C's. Hold on. Chabo? Get drunk. I gotta go past all the Charlottes. Jesus. Consulate is like Lancelot, but also stupider. Whoop slap? Absolutely not. You gonna name our kid Cosmo? Good time. Daz Bones? Oh god. Dirt Boss? How about Dirt Boss? Oh god. Ducky Bree? Finbach? That's... It fucking sounds like cock. We could actually name our kid Frankie. Like, that's a normal ass name. No, we're not naming our kid Law. Absolutely not. Goo? How about Great Michael? No, you're not allowed to step on me for saying no law. That's bullshit. Absolutely not. Ah, fuck me. Heracles? Heracles? Hercules? Heracles? Jack? Who the fuck is Jack? Stop stepping on me. Who is Jack? Oh, Jack. Huh. I like the name Jack. I think it's a good, simple, short name. Jack's not a bad name. No Johns. No Johnnies. No Josephs. Julius? Julius? God, it's a powerful ass name for a fucking weird looking bitch. Joy Boy! Kobe? Kobe? We have a child named after Best Boy? Oh my god, Gore, Kobe Drake. Kobe first name, Drake middle name. Drake is another word for dragon. Yeah, Kobe Drake goes fucking hard as hell. It goes hard as hell. Kobe D Peach Girl. Okay, Yiggy, I'm gonna text you my last name because all my kids have my last name. It's actually hyphened between my last name. It's hyphened between my last name and Gore's, but my last name is the most fantasy. Okay, I texted it to you. What does Kobe mean? Kobe name meaning. Kobe means supplanter, holder of the heel, or tortoise. It is Hebrew and Swahili. Is traditionally used as a nickname for Jacob. It's the German version of Jacob. Yeah, all my kids have my last name. Yeah, Kobe's Hebrew, apparently. Google says it's Hebrew. Well, okay, similar full name, but not shortened. Not Kobe. There's nobody in our family that has a similar name to Kobe. DM me. Who has a similar name to Kobe? No, those names aren't similar at all. Just because it's a shortened version doesn't mean it's traditionally used as a nickname. I don't think anybody calls your brother Kobe. Also, people would think we're just naming our kid after Kobe Bryant. But yeah, no, Yigi, I'm gonna DM you my kids' names so that you know. No to Kobe, alright. Just so you know, like, what my naming system is. There you go. Those are my kids' names. Just so you know, like, what my naming system looks like. Fine. What about Keith? Those are good names, thank you. I'm very proud of them. I'm very proud of them. I worked hard on those names. No Kobe for me, I guess. Good boy. That's my baby. What about Moon? Nothing too Japanese because we're not Japanese. Leo? Leo? I have a cousin named Leo, actually, so never mind, we can't use Leo. LaCroix? Do you want LaCroix? Do you want lime juice? Oh, we can name our kid Lime Juice. This man's name is Lime Juice. I know this man. This man's name is Lime Juice? Shanks is traveling around with lime juice? That's fucking stupid. Yeah, LaCroix is a Marine. Vice Admiral LaCroix. Yeah. You see why I can't use Edward, right? It's a little too close. Shanks is rolling around with a guy named Rockstar. Rockstar's not a bad name. Fucking lime juice is. What about Marco? Little Oars Jr.? What about Marco? We like Marco. God, yeah, a bit of a glow up, that one. Make the middle name Denise. Marco Denise. Marco is a 6 out of 10. If you rank Marco higher than Kobe, Marco with the Cotter with the dad bod, you're absolutely correct. Okay. Milo? Ugh, Milo. That's a dog's name. As soon as I said it, I went, no. God, I always forget this man's name is just... Oh, fuck. Hold up. I always forget this guy's name is just Monster. Like... Oh, is that the monkey's name? The monkey's name is Monster? Oh, I thought the guy's name was Monster. What about Morgan, Gore? I hate this guy, but Morgan's not a bad name. I think the guy has a name. I'm sure he does. So you're okay with Morgan? Even though it's traditionally a female name. Okay, I see how it is. It's because you like the name for a girl. Also, we already agreed, we like the name Morgan for a girl. Morgan's pretty gender neutral. I guess that's fair. It's not my favorite, if you want to be honest. I like Morgan more, and that's feminine, so... Pedro, Pell, Peterman. Pickles? Who the fuck is Pickles? Oh, Foxy Pirates. I forgot about Pickles. I forgot about Pickles. Is his name Pluming or Plumbing? Plumbing. I'm going with Plumbing. I mean, we could do Ace. You want to do Ace? You forgot the Pickles? God damn it. I always do. Or do you want to do Ace? Bubble Bass is gonna get your ass. Too edgy. What about that name is edgy? I have so many questions. we're about to fight. How about Rabbit Man? Was Rabbit Man too edgy for you? How about Randolph? Strong name, Randolph. Oh boy. What about Rob? We're trying to pick a name for our next kid. Hi, Maikaru. How are you? Be real. I hope he does grow up to be asexual. What about Rob? Rob's not a bad name for a boy. We're trying to name a son that I may never have. I've only had girls, so I've only been able to name girls. Gore. Keep up. What about Rob? Like Rob Stark. We could do with 2 B's. Bubba. Who are the red-haired pirates? Okay, we got Shanks, Ben. We could do Ben. Ben's good. Is Ben good? Ben's a good name. Who the fuck is Bonk Punch? The man's name is Bonk Punch? I think Monster would have been a better name than Bonk Punch. Yeah, Building Snake. How does the actual monster on this crew have a better name than everybody else? Good God. Lime juice. Whatever, Shanks. The fuck ever. Fucking ridiculous. Fuck this. Shanks, get better taste in men. Rob is a no. Of course it is. What about Logan? Or Saber. Saber is an awful name. Don't curse a child with the name Saber. Robin is gender neutral, yeah. I'm okay with Robin. I'm okay with Robin being a boy's name. Honestly, I'd be okay having a son named Robin, so I guess we could use it either way. Christopher Robin? I don't know. I don't remember what started this conversation, honestly. How about Unforgivable Mask? I think Unforgivable Mask is a great name for your kid. Just have the middle name just be D. Robin, name meaning boy. Famed, bright, and shining. Alright, it's German. God, both of our kids are gonna have German names then. Did I stop the government from spaying me? For now. I lucked out now. But I'm gonna have to keep an eye out because they're coming. They really want me spayed, and I'm not about that. I don't want to be spayed yet. I gotta have one more kid. Robin D's nuts! Oh god. We about to be Robin D's nuts, baby! Oh god, yeah, no, Robin D is definitely asking for some troubles later on down the line. Alright, no D middle name for Robin, got it. Robin D's hoes. But they have to have a D. Oh god. Raise them to own it. Yeah, people are like, Robin D's nuts, and they're like, nah, Robin D's hoes, bitch. At like 5 years old. Look, son, you have to have confidence in your D, or else there's no point in having the D to begin with. If you don't have confidence in your D, what's even the point in having one? Robin D's W's. Robin D's wins. Oh my god. I have to pee. I don't want to get up though. That's just where my life is. Money. Money. I gotta BRB, you gotta feed the cats. And feed them cats, girl. I mean, you've got a dick, right? I mean, I feel like you should have confidence. Got more than I got. I ain't got nothing going on down there. It's no fun. I'm a Kindle. Shit's whack. I don't even know what happened to me. Nobody gave you that memo? Well, somebody should have. I've been unconfident my whole life. Well, fix that. You got a dick. It's fine. No worries. We're getting high. I just get low most of the time. On the blue guy in the room. Way back in July. I gotta pee. It hurts. Oh, it hurts so bad. How long can I sit here and hold my pee before I feel like my bladder's gonna explode? Fun game. It's not a fetish thing. I'm just genuinely curious. Yeah, exactly. I would do anything for a penis. Stop kicking me! Fucking stop it! Stop stepping on me. I'll go pee when I feel like it. I'll go pee when it feels good again. And then her dad walks in. Oh fuck, her dad walks in. Gore, stop stepping on me! I didn't do anything worth being stepped on. You gotta wait. If you hold it just long enough, peeing is the best feeling in the world. You just have to be patient. You just have to be patient. Just hold it right before the brink where you piss yourself. Yeah, get him, Morrison. Fuck him up. Get him. You just gotta hold it. It'll feel better. A little bit of pain for pleasure in the long run is what we're getting at here, boys. I'm teaching y'all lessons. Write that shit down. This is very important information that you need. I'm gonna need y'all to start writing shit down. Everything I say, it will be important later on for you down the line. So go ahead and write this down. When your kids are of age, hand it off to them. This is important news. Just, you gotta hold the pee. Hold the pee until it's like borderline painful. No, you're not gonna get kidney stones. It's fine. I promise. I do this all the time. You just hold, you just hold the pee until it's borderline painful. And there will be a test on this. Stop stepping on me. You just gotta hold the pee until it's borderline painful. And then you go to the bathroom. And it is better than anything you've ever experienced in your entire life. Dare I say, it might even be better than Wolfman. I know, that's crazy to say, but hear me out. Stop stepping on my bladder. Gore, that's enough. I've had enough out of you. Hear me out. Hear me out. And don't judge me. Hear me out with an open mind and an open heart. Open your mind, your heart, your soul, and your bladder to me as I introduce you to the best feeling in the world. There's nothing weird about it. Don't call me a freak. There's nothing weird about it. It's very normal. A lot of people feel this way. Don't come piss on my desk. Wait. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? What would that solve here? Personally, I pee whenever I have to. You're missing out is what I'm trying to tell you. That's what I'm trying to tell you, is that you're just missing out. I'm gonna lock my door real quick, actually, for safety reasons. Just to keep me safe from gore, specifically. I just pissed myself. I got a 90-year-old with 15 kids as bladder. Why does this 90-year-old have 15 kids? I've got so many questions. Oh, thank you for the pet, Nico. How you doing? I'm afraid that I can't come down. I gotta swim, but I can't stop now. I wanna fly right now. I wanna see how my homies get down. Stop stepping on me. I'm trying to introduce you to the holy gates. I'm trying to bring you to the gates of heaven. Petting me after you step on me is not going to make this any better. I'm trying to walk you directly to the pearly gates of heaven. And instead, you're sitting here and you're ridiculing me. There's not a wait, there's no fetish here. Gore, we just talked about this. It's nothing, how would they say? It's nothing obtrusive. It's nothing, that's not the word. It's nothing kinky. It's just a fact about life. I'm trying to hold your hand and walk you across that golden bridge. No, calling it golden probably isn't the right pick for it. But either way, I'm trying to take you there. And instead of letting me take you there, I feel as though I am being judged. Which is not fair to me. I am simply trying to help. I am trying to walk you in the ways of the good Lord. And yet, I am being ridiculed. And I don't feel like this is fair to any of us, truly. Because the more you ridicule me, the more you miss out on in life. I'm trying to open your eyes to something better. I am literally Jesus. God damn it! I have just circled back around to becoming Peasus again. Fuck. Wait a minute. That was not my intention. I did not mean to circle back around to the Peasus pipeline. And yet here I am, once again, being called Piss Jesus. Would you believe me if I told you that this is not the first time I have been called Piss Jesus? I am going back to my roots, apparently. This is not good, actually. Shit. Fuck. God damn it. Oh no. Oh no. Oh god. Peasus is back. Peasus returns. Who knew your roots were yellow? Oh fuck. Oh no. What have I done? This is now the second time in my life I've circled back around. Why do you people only listen to me when I say things under the guise of Piss Jesus? Why don't y'all love me enough to listen to me unless I am wearing the rugged beard of Piss Jesus? Why do I have to put on this itchy, scratchy piece of shit beard every single time I want y'all to listen to me? It smells like piss in here. I don't like it. Help. Free me. Your people demand a god. Why this one? I don't think I want to listen to Piss Jesus either. Like, I don't know how I keep walking into this. Y'all can't see this, but I am biting the shit out of my fingernail right now. What have I done? Oh no. I was just fucking around and I've somehow circled back around to something that I was trying to leave in the past. Chat called for a god and you provided a urinal. That's definitely a phrase that you just said, Gore. That sure is a sentence that you just said. Oh man. Oof. I don't know how I feel about the fact that I've just come full circle. What does this mean for me? Hold on, I now have to like do a deep dive into myself to figure out how this has happened to me again. Twice. It's some kind of fire. I'm already up. You lift me higher. No, I'm not wrong. No, I'm not lying. I just piss better. I just piss better. Yeah. And I don't mind if my piss moves faster, the music's louder, the waves get stronger. I don't mind if my piss moves faster, faster, faster. Just let me take you to a better place. I'm gonna make you piss yourself tonight. I'm so excited to see you excited. I'll take you to a better place. Oh man. And up to outer space. I'm so excited to see you excited. I don't care if the piss runs faster, the piss gets louder, the piss gets stronger. I don't mind. Can we get a piss emote? No, Twitch would get so mad. Oh shit. Just let me take you to a yellow place. God, I hate myself. I decided just to go whole hog for a second there. Okay, fun fact, there's actually art of my old model as Piss Jesus. But also I am a P from VeggieTales. Can you turn water into piss? Absolutely. I specialize in it, actually, believe it or not. Hold on, I gotta find it. It's buried. I can turn Dr. Pepper into piss. That is also true. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Y'all are gonna see my, y'all are about to see my Twitter homepage. I hope y'all enjoy. Hold on. Let's see. I gotta scroll through a lot of art. Give me 1 minute. Okay, then we're back into my old model. Let's see. Where is Piss Jesus? That's me as Boss Baby. I'm being careful. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. So I'm so sorry, Jimmel. That's me on the Chili's chili for my birthday in 2021. Shit. Okay, hold on. Let's see, is it in my Discord? 1 second. It might be in the Discord, actually. If it's in the Discord, it's like real high up there. Alright, let's... would it be under shitpost or would it be under art? I genuinely cannot recall. Let's see. Where is it? I have it saved on my old computer, but I don't think I have it saved on this one. I know who made it. I could probably just look through June post. It would show up, because I think June made it. Oh, hold on. I actually just find another image that I need to save. Okay, there we go. I look up Pisus. Ah, there it is. Okay. Found it. There it is. There it is. Oh god. Yep, there it is. That's the old art. God. The fact that all I had to do was look up Pisus. And it just magically appeared. That's crazy. Oh my god. Pisus cometh. Oh fuck. The prophecy is true. Pisus cometh. Yeah, because I'm a P. Morson's probably not familiar with the old corn memes, no. Morson is a newer member. I sing the body electric, baby. Oh god. Oh fuck, what the hell? Sorry, for whatever reason. My collab is trying to... Why? I don't know why my collab is trying to show up, but it's fine. That's what the mountain is. It's trying to connect to my collab thing. I'm working on it. Alright, there it goes. For whatever reason, it thought... I think it's because I just refreshed Discord. And it was trying to connect. Is this a new VTuber? No, it's my OG. So, I started streaming in 2020 with a different model altogether. And I streamed with this model from 2020 to 2023, I think. Like late 2023. We made mouse pads. There's a lot of art of this character. I played her for many years. Love her dearly. Me and my friend Ducky. Man, I've just been playing Stardew Valley forever, huh? I rebranded last year. Very beginning of last year. So things are a little different than they used to be. I just realized this is called Junis Betrayal. Oh my fucking god. I need to go pee. I went on a whole rant about the joys of peeing and then I never actually got up to go pee. So much work though. Yeah. Go Biz! Okay, I'll go. I'm taking my phone with me though. So, get ready for that. Oh, you know what? All right, ad break just ended. Hi everybody. I'm gonna go pee. Let me turn on the music on the BRB screen so that y'all have something to listen to. And then I'll be back. The best, I'm the best out there. Man, this game's... Gore, you will have to explain the corn memes to Morrison now because you brought it up. God, I wore myself out. I wore myself out going on a piss rant. How does that even happen? How does one even do that? God, am I built different? I must be built different because how does one get tired from talking about pissing? It was too emotional, I guess. Yeah, it is the country girls make do meme, actually. Okay, let me set up the music for y'all. So y'all have music on the BRB screen, because I just realized y'all don't. Bum bum beam bum 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 bum. There we go. Alright, I'll be right back. I will see y'all in a minute. Alright, I'm back. I'm so sorry to make y'all listen to white girl music. Y'all deserve better than that. Sorry. I had to walk past my child to go to the bathroom, and she's obsessed with me. So I naturally had to pick her up and give her kisses. Hi, Dog Ant. Welcome back, Yiggy. Do I want pound cake? I'm good, thank you. I was gonna say yes, but then I was like, I just had so much Taco Bell, my tummy hurts. I know you ain't a drug, but you get me so high. Alright. Ooh. Look at that. Oof. Oof. Sexy. Well, fuck. What started off as sexy is now becoming the most terrifying thing that could happen to me. How are we all doing, though? I want to play some Stardew Valley in a minute. I just wanted to see if I can get another random event. Because the last two random events I've gotten have been good. So I was curious to see if I can get another one, but doesn't seem likely. Which is unfortunate, but it's fine. Oh, did Gore send it to you? That's so funny. Alright, oh, wait, nope. Go over this one real quick while I get the game booted up. Stress. Alright. Right, but you... 1 second. Actually, I'm still gonna let Stardew Valley get booted up. However, I am going to go look at my Google Docs. I'm gonna look at my drive. Do I have... Ooh, dark mode indeed. Is that everything? Fascinating. Not me going into my... Okay, I'm sorry, I'm looking to see if I have... my, I'm just trying to see if I have my VShojo. And instead, I ran into... Born? I'm very confused. Anyways, sorry. I don't know what the fuck happened there. That's crazy. Anyways. What? I didn't do nothing. We did, but I was looking for the edited version of it. And I ran into a video that is pornographic in nature. However, it is not mine. I don't know who this woman is. I am unsure as to who this woman is. So, I don't know. I don't know who this woman is, but her content has found its way onto my computer. Send it to me right now. Okay, hold on. Hold on. One moment. I'm not gonna send it. I'm not gonna do that. I don't know who this woman is, but I have a video of her vagina. So, you know, whatever, I suppose. Anyways, I have this. I don't know what the... Why are you coming back here for this? No, absolutely not. I don't know who it is. I deleted it. I don't know who it is. Why are you coming back here right now for it? I'm working. I can't open that. I'm not opening that on stream. Get out of here. Nosy? Sorry. Gore just walked back here and was like, I want to see. As if I don't currently have my screen share on? What? Sorry. Gore jump scared me. Gore's like, I want to see a fucking bitch. Okay, what the fuck just happened? Where did OBS go? Why are you all the way down here, my love? Anyways. Just mute. No, I deleted it. I don't know whose that is. Anyways, I know we watched this earlier, but this is the edited version. It might be a little louder, so. Hi, VShojo. My name's Cyber Peach, but you can just call me Peach. I want to make it clear when I start this. I don't think it is any louder. This audition may be a little different. I don't think it is. I'm a cow VTuber. Cottagecore themed, as I'm sure you can tell just by looking at me. Yeah, no, my voice sounds very different. And though I could sit here and show off my talents, my ability to sing, my ability to make music, my editing ability, my own music in the background, my ability to make some weird Photoshop. Oh, I actually put it in my audition. Twitter. Oh. Instead, I want to talk to you guys about why I'm a VTuber. I didn't realize Photoshop memes. My ability to. I didn't realize I put this in here. Sing, my ability to make music, my editing ability, my ability to make some weird Photoshop meme like the one that I made that blew up on Twitter. Oh no. Instead, I want to talk to you guys about why I'm a VTuber and why I'm making this audition to begin with. And yes, I will be doing all of this in a Chili's parking lot. Chili's is my safe place. Please don't judge me. That hasn't changed. I became a VTuber in the middle of the pandemic. I debuted in March of this year, meaning I've only been streaming for about 5 months. And I debuted specifically because I was in a bad place, and I wanted to bring joy to people who were also in bad places, or even people who were just having bad days. My goal as a streamer wasn't for fame or fortune, it was for community. It's for fame and fortune now. Don't worry about it. It's for fame and fortune now. Absolutely. Building a community that loved and supported each other just as much as they loved and supported me. And I'm really proud to say that I think I've succeeded with that. God, my tail is going my community is look at that small. Look at that tail back there. It's nowhere near as large as y'all's, but it's a good community. And I'm very, very proud of them. I actually reached out to them because I tried to film this video like 10 times and every time it just came off weird. It didn't feel like me. And I reached out to them and I asked them, what makes me different from other VTubers? Besides being a completely different aesthetic than all of the current VShojo girls, what makes me stand out? And they all responded with the same answer, which was, you care. That's 19-year-old me. The way you connect with chat. The way you go from supporting them in mental health crises and giving good advice just like a big sister to joking about big sister anymore. Their shoes because they pissed you off. And I was still pissing your
what
shoes.
makes you unique. And I really struggled with finding a way to portray that in this audition.
This feels like a political ad. Thank you.
The
I did my
song that
best.
you're hearing in the background is a song that I wrote
I was running for president, essentially.
and published. The memes
Hi,
and
Kula.
the photos that you're seeing off to the side, these are things that I
Two peaches.
created myself, whether in Photoshop or on streams. And these are all things I'm really proud of. But more than anything else,
Trash Can
I'm proud
Peach.
of my community.
I need to bring
And
back Trash
I
Can
want
Peach.
to help
Oh.
that community grow. I want to help VShojo grow.
Oh. Trash Can Peach. I need to fucking. I cannot believe I put fucking the Country Girls Make
Weird
Do in there.
Photoshop.
Why did I put this in a formal audition? Oh god. Trash Can, my beloved. So fucking true, honestly. God, Trash Can Peach. She was something special. I love her. It got me through all of the rounds, Yiggy. I made it to round. I got through round 1 and 2. As a 19-year-old, 19-year-olds are stupid. I wouldn't say I was stupid, but I will say I was young. Ikula, that was my oh, sorry. That was fuck burps. Oop, not that. I don't know what the fuck that is, but I moved it. That was my VShojo audition. Believe it or not. Go back up to the there we go. Enter. That's not centered, but whatever. Whatever.
Many flows that any hoe will vouch for. I got many foes cause many hoes be out for. Had the penny phones, remember those was copper. Had so many
But yeah,
hoes
no, that
talking
was my
about you got
VShojo
those.
audition.
I feel night in real life, I'm real Nike. It's flight club in
got
my
me
house, they not like me. More than likely, they ain't got the heart to fight me. It's a lie, somebody seeing me, these are rising. Hey, let me let it breathe.
Music very loud. Oh, yeah, sorry. I meant to turn that off, my bad. I got it. Better. Better. Are we all better? Sorry, I didn't mean to deafen you. But yeah, no, life would have been pretty different if I had made it in, actually. Well, different in the way of stream would be a lot busier. I think more than anything else. I think we'd have a lot more people in chat all the time, and I think I would definitely be overwhelmed trying to keep up. No, there was music. It was just really quiet. The starting to this song is quiet as hell. Alright. But yeah, no, I think definitely if I had gotten into VShojo, things would have been different. Turns out, I wasn't old enough for him. I need to be an old, retired VTuber from a corpo. It's playful shit. If any of my mutuals from VShojo are chilling in my stream right now, I promise it is casual shit talking. I am joking. I love you. I'm sorry. Farming in the Valley is going good. How are you, Nick? God, I always forget I have VShojo mutuals until I jokingly shit talk on VShojo, and then I'm like, it's a joke! Please! Also, do you have any job openings? I am broke! Oh god. I'm glad to hear you're doing good, Nick. Holy fuck. I am such a menace. I really don't mean to be, though. I just don't think I know how to be any different. Good morning, everyone. Oh, goodness. I just, sometimes I forget that I have, like, semi-famous to famous mutuals. Where the fuck is Pepper? Oh, there he is. Okay. I was like, where the fuck did she go? I just forget I have famous mutuals from time to time, and then when I remember, I panic because I just say shit all the time. Yiggy needs a job. If VShojo's watching, please give Yiggy a job. I would get on my hands and knees and suck you off if you would give Yiggy a job. Some of y'all, I think, are Texas-based. If you give Yiggy a job, I will get on my hands and knees. I swear it. Does VShojo have an official website with job opportunities? I believe so. I know their official website has the section on it for, auditions. Back when that was a thing. Sorry, I was checking I had an email. I was making sure it wasn't anything important. Update, it wasn't. When is it ever? I just panic because I'm working on so much, I'm working on so much 2.0 stuff that every time I get an email, I'm like, 2.0? Yeah, you can whore me out for a job, always. If whoring me out gets you a job, fucking I am your next door neighbor's slut. I'll do whatever it takes to get my friends good jobs. I'll slut myself out for you. I'll work the corner if it means that you get a job. Oh, they don't have a jobs thing, huh? I know they used to have like a I want to work for VShojo, what do I do? And they were like, oh, periodically we open auditions, so keep an eye out for that. And then when their auditions were open, they had like a little section there where it was like, our auditions are open. Audition here, or whatever the fuck. I don't know. Sorry, the more I am like rambling, the more I'm like, I sound like a fucking dumbass. Send rain and paper flowers back to the gypsy. Is it okay if I say that word? I know it's a slur now. But I will say, when this song came out, I don't think it was. Also, I heard that it's only a slur outside of America. Like, it's a slur in, like, the Europe. But it's not a slur here. Gypsy. Because, like, here it's a name. And so I've heard that, like, people, like, Romani people from Europe don't get upset when Americans say it because it's not an American slur. But also, like, I know, like, people here in America call Romani people something completely different, which is considered a slur. I don't know what it is. But so I've heard. Yeah, you see why I'm like, it's kind of weird. I'm not sure. Europeans aren't real. Fuck them. True. I don't know. I want to be like polite about it, but I just genuinely don't know. Yeah, that's pretty much, but it feels awful to say that. Like, you know what I mean? It feels awful to be like, oh, it's not a slur here. We have something worse. Like, whoa. All right, reel it in. Jesus. I think it's more of a context thing. Maybe. Because I love this song, but this song is called Gypsy. And so every time I sing it, I'm like, should I just sing it by myself? I shouldn't sing this in front of others, should I? It's so weird. I don't ever know. There's no job opportunity, but they have an email you can contact for stuff. Do you think if I emailed them about a job... You think if I emailed VShojo and I was like, hey, VShojo, I applied, back when y'all opened auditions, and I know that those auditions ended up, not working out due to reasons. However, I'm still interested in working for y'all if that's... Kula, that is such a wild fucking sentence. Kula. Holy shit. What? Who just says that? Oh my god. Like, I get what you mean, but oh my god. Slides pussy across the table. Leaves a wet trail on the table behind me. Oh god, that's so gross. Supposed to be cloudy tomorrow. Spirits are displeased. Alright, so we're not gonna fuck around in there. We'll just go fuck around in the main mines then. Oh my fucking god. Sorry, I don't know why that got me. I was gonna go... Shit. Sorry, sometimes the random JoJo just jump scares me. But no, that fucked me up. Sorry. Gore adds all the JoJo music, by the way, so thank Gore for it. I've never watched JoJo. I watched season 1, and that was it. Also, I'm in here just for rocks, because I need rocks. I need to upgrade my barn. Best opening? Sure. I don't know. Ba-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. I'm straight up just only in here for rocks. Alright, bet. Next floor. Oh, thank you so much for the stretch. I have to be very careful because my C-section scar is ripping open, but that's for me to deal with. Y'all don't need to worry about that. I just found an ad on Indeed for a TikTok live host for those live channels that sell jewelry and bags and such. Huh. I don't want to, but good to know that's an option in today's age. Ooh, see Gil for your reward. Will do. Kula, don't worry about it. I said it's fine. I'll deal with it. I'm dealing with it. It's no biggie. It sounds bad? No, no, no. It's fine. It's been going on for like a week now. It's no biggie. It's very tolerable. No worries. Pays $25 to $50 hourly. Damn! Maybe I am interested, actually. Hold on. Do I have to be of Asian descent? I know a lot of the people they hire for that are Asian women, which I think it's just based off beauty factor. I'm not really sure how that works. Well, I don't know how much money that is a week, Kula, but... Yeah, send that to Yiggy. Yiggy needs that money way more than I do. I don't know. I don't know if it is. Also, Yiggy is a very beautiful woman. I don't understand. Out of what I can recall from the last time I saw Yiggy's face, Yiggy's a very beautiful woman. I think Yiggy would do fine at that job. Just saying. The C-section. What about my C-section? It's healing. It's healing. It's fine. Sometimes when things heal, they have to rip open again first to, you know, clean heal. Simple. Easy. No worries. Do your scars not rip back open to re-heal properly? I don't know. I don't know what the hell that man's talking about. No biggie. How the fuck did that crab bounce as long as it did? Sir? Yes, Kula? Yeah. The scar that was there because they ripped all the organs out of my body alongside my baby. Yep, that's the scar. Is indeed. Yigi happen to be for the girls? Yigi does happen to be for the girls. Absolutely. Yigi is absolutely for the girls. Yigi loves girls. That is so true. Okay, okay, I'm gonna say this, and Yigi, please tell me if this is like stereotypical. I don't know if that's even the right word for it. Tell me if this isn't offensive, because I don't mean it to be. But it's something I've noticed. And if it is offensive, I will immediately apologize, because I have no intention to be insensitive. However, I have noticed that out of the trans women that I have met, that I'm friends with, a lot of trans women have a lilt to their voice. That I've noticed that a lot of cis women do not. Like when they speak, sometimes like they end their sentences on kind of like a higher note. I can mimic it if I need to make what I'm trying to say like make sense. But I've noticed it with a bunch of my women friends who happen to be trans women. Where like whenever they end their sentences, yeah, it's kind of Valley Girl-ish, where like it's like they end all of their sentences like it's a question almost, where they'll be talking and they'll like end the sentence and it'll be like a sentence and they'll be like, oh, you know how it is, like it's like a higher like almost like question like cadence. Yeah, cadence. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. And I imagine that just has something to do with vocal training, like voice training, and the fact that I at least what I've noticed is a lot of trans women that I know kind of voice train from the same like YouTube tutorials. Maybe? I don't know. I don't really know what it is. But I find it so endearing. I love it. I find it very endearing. Yeah, and maybe it is just because it's a socially accepted like girly kind of tone. Maybe that is just all it is, and I'm just overthinking it. But it's something I noticed with some of my trans girlfriends. And I adore it. Which is why I said, like, if this comes off as, like, insulting, like, please let me know, because I don't mean it to be insulting at all. It's just something that I've noticed, and I was curious as to why that was. But if you've never noticed, then I don't think you'll know. So, never mind. Reality, all trans women are Canadian? Perhaps, honestly. I also have the big tism. That's also very fair. I was just curious. I noticed it first with my friend Sadie Mud Puppy. She was like the first time I had ever noticed it. And I was like, oh, maybe that's just like her specific voice. I think it's super cute. But I was like, maybe that's just like a voice that she really likes. It makes her feel really happy. And then later I found out that she's into like Valley Girls. So I was like, oh, maybe she's just mimicking the voice type of like the girls that she's into. All right, that's fine. I love it. It sounds great. But then as I started making more and more trans girlfriends in the community, because ironically enough, I've always had trans friends. All of them have always been trans men, however. And maybe it's just because as a cis woman, I hung out with people who were also cis women until they weren't anymore. And so now they're all trans men. So it wasn't really something I had ever really experienced much until I entered into the VTuber sphere of things. But I noticed more and more of them did it. And I was like, interesting. I love it. I think it's so cute. I think it's adorable, honestly. I absolutely love it. I was just actually really curious. We were introducing ourselves and you pointed it out. Oh, okay, so you've done that for a long time then. Fascinating. Well, then maybe my connection is not true. I was like, I have found the connection. I haven't. I haven't found the connection. I just, Yigi's done it her whole life. I have no idea. Hold on, I'm restarting this song because I actually really like this song. I sing this song to my daughter sometimes. Give it up for traditional Irish hymns being sung to your children. I mean, of the T-girls you know, several of us are from the Northeast. That also could be a thing as well. That definitely could be a thing as well. I didn't even think about it like that. Considering, like, all of y'all, like, know each other. That sounds wrong. That's like, all black people know each other. Fuck me. Follow the door far today. Far today. Far today. But I don't know, maybe I'm just reading into it too much. But I will also say, out of all the trans people that I know, I always forget that a lot of them are trans until, like, it comes up in conversation. And then I'm like, oh, right! My fucking dumbass. I'll like say something and my trans girlfriends are like, oh, I can't relate. And I'm like, what do you mean you can't relate? You know what a period's like, dunce? Like, you're a girl. And they're like, not by birth. And I'm like, oh yeah, no, you're right. Congratulations on being a girl that doesn't have to deal with the period. Like, I'll just say shit because I forget. God, I always feel like I come off so... I always feel like I come off as, like, so stupid. But I really do just be forgetting. There are quite a few trans girls that are into hypnosis. Interesting. Did my ducks get left outside last night? Where the fuck are my ducks? No, they didn't get left outside. They just went outside as soon as I opened the door. Okay, that's fine. Whatever. Fucking no concern. Ducks are just stressing me out for no good reason. It's fine. You'll still get periods hormonally if you're on HRT. I heard about that recently. Like, that's like a recent thing I've learned about, and I find that so fascinating. I think that is, like, super fucking cool, actually. I mean, periods aren't cool. Periods fucking suck. But I think it's really cool that trans women get a chance to experience something like that. I just remember that one trans woman on, that everybody was jumping her ass because she was breastfeeding their adopted child, like their adopted baby. And I was like, truly, the fact that she's even able to breastfeed is crazy impressive. As a woman, like a biological woman who gave birth and also breastfed my child, like being able to produce milk is hard as fuck. So the fact that she was able to do it and produce enough for that infant to survive off of is so impressive to me. Because, like, ugh. I accidentally hit my roommate with in the no-no area with a pillow, and then I was like, oh no, your balls! That is so relatable, though. I feel like I used to accidentally do that shit all the time. Right? Do something like that, just not thinking, and then be like, shit! But see, my roommate, years and years ago, was a trans man. So it was a little different, where I was like, oh no, your balls! And I was like, wait, that's not real! I can smack it as much as I want! Pop, pop, pop! It's plastic! Okay, good, I've got grapes. Oh god, sorry, I'm a bit of a menace from time to time. Can I dehydrate this? I can't dehydrate broccoli. I think I knew that. Why would you be able to dehydrate broccoli? My sister just always aims for my balls when fighting. Your sister is a menace. That's wild. How many days before it's official? Before what's official? Just in general? like a relationship? Because I don't know, man. My relationship started out weird. I started out sucking dick, and we weren't even dating, so I don't think I'm the right person to ask that question to. I went backwards, so I went backwards. My timeline was freshman year, be secretly in love with him. Sophomore year, kiss him. What is it? Freshman, sophomore. Fucking, what's the next one? What's the next one? I don't remember the next one. What the fuck is the next year in high school? Freshman, sophomore, blank, senior. Junior, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Junior year, suck dick. In class. Senior year, continue doing the aforementioned top 3 things. Graduate, then date. What? What, Gore? What? Look! We went to a school full of nerds. We went to a trade school. Full of nerds. I feel like fucking in class was expected of me. I don't know. Okay. I've got some explaining to do. I've just discovered. Okay. So me and Gore. Also, I didn't even say that this was about Gore, but Gore still was like Peach. So I don't understand why I'm being yelled at. First of all, it's sucking dick. It's not sex. I didn't have sex till after high school. Till after I graduated. However, I did suck dick. So we met in a film class, and then that was like our main curriculum, was that we went to that school for film. Other people would go to that school for other things, other jobs, other trades. But me and Gore went specifically for film. And so in our classroom, we had multiple other adjoining rooms to the classroom. We had a green screen room. We had a recording booth room that was like a room that had like a table, and then it had like 2 recording booths in it. And then we had 2 rooms side by side that were actual sets. They were like we could like set them up, and they had like curtains, like green screen curtains of different colors, and like all the lights and stuff in them, so that we could actually like film things there. What are the chances she knew? She caught us. What the fuck you mean? What are the chances she knew? She knew. I follow her on Facebook. She knows that we have a kid together now. So I hope that whatever bet she made with the teachers in the back room, after she caught us, I hope she made good money off that. She owes me some. But yeah, so essentially we had to go behind these curtains to fix the cords for the lights in the stage rooms, or like on the set rooms. And so that was our go-to dick sucking spot. It's okay, you weren't really missing out. The amount of anxiety Subway Surfer I played, because everything I did made me anxious, was unparalleled. High school was a weird time for me. I was homeless, so I was kind of just doing whatever. I had a social worker, so I was just kind of running around doing whatever with whoever. It's true, I didn't fuck till after graduation. playing Temple Run too, but like Subway Surfer was like the new thing when I was in high school. Yeah, I graduated in 2017, babes. High school is unbearable these days. Okay, so when I was pregnant, I was a substitute teacher as well as a streamer. Fun, I know. And I subbed at my old high school, but I taught middle schoolers because my high school had a section for middle schoolers now. Elementary schoolers and middle schoolers now that are like gifted and talented or whatever. Anyways, I subbed there while I was pregnant, and a bunch of my a bunch of my old teachers still work there, and literally on their shifts, like where they don't have any kids in their classroom, their job is to walk around and make sure that there are no kids fucking in the stairwells. And I was like, that wasn't y'all's job when I went to high school. And he was like, it's because of you guys that's a job we have now. And I was like, uh-oh. I was like, shit. So, yeah, we had 3 bathroom orgies in the 4 years we went there. Or what was it? It was a competition with the public high school. One of our friends sucked dick in the stairwell. She regretted it. I'm so sorry for her. Yeah, it was a wild time. Yeah, it was like all over Twitter, like in our area. Crazy. Like the photos and videos were all over our Twitter. It was wild. High school was a wild time. Like I said, I was homeless, so I just kind of did whatever. Peach out here creating jobs. I'm trying, man. I'm just giving these teachers something to remember. That's all it is. TikTok, we was playing Genshin and Nikki in class. Oh god, Nike. I always pronounce it Nikki. I always forget it's pronounced Nike. I see Gore in a new light now. You shouldn't. Bro was like hella religious. Look! Okay. Fun fact about Gore. Gore, I'm gonna bring this up. You can tell me when to stop. Fun fact about Gore. Gore was hella religious at that point in time. I was not. I've been pagan since we met. Gore was a hella religious. To the point that I asked him out junior year of high school, I think. Was it junior year? Was it senior year? What year was it? I don't know. It was a year. I asked him out. And my man turned me down because I was not of the same religion as him. And that meant a lot to him. Was it sophomore year? God, it was that early? Ugh. He turned me down because I was not of the same religion as him. But I need you to know, an hour before I asked him out, this man was teaching me how to take ass pics that looked good. Oh my god! Oh, fuck. It is the funniest. This man said, I am a good Christian man. I cannot date a pagan woman like yourself unless you are willing to convert for me. And I went, that's unfortunate because I'm not willing to convert, but I do love you a lot. And he went, absolutely not. Anyways, whenever you take a good ass pic, you want to angle your ass in the mirror. Oh, God. He was teaching me for himself! What do you mean, advice? He was teaching me so I'd send him good ass pics. So fucking funny, man. He's so real for that. Look, when I tell you Gore pre-invested in me, I'm not kidding. We have the... Okay, Gore in high school... Yeah, I got you, Yiggy. I got you. I'll send you advice. You've seen my ass pics on Twitter. You know I've gotten better at it. I've got advice for you. Look, Gore pre-invested for real, because I am now his perfect woman. Because he pre-invested. It's so funny, though. Yeah, Gore in high school was definitely something. But I have a lot of really funny memories. Like, I know Gore, I'm sorry. I know, like, Gore's embarrassed of a lot of these memories, so I probably shouldn't be bringing them up. I'm really sorry. So many of these memories are so, like, for me at least, a lot of these memories are really, like, fun. It just, I don't know, it just makes me happy remembering all of that because it was just a really fun time in my life. Yeah, Gore was That's true, you were pretty rough. Oh, poor thing. Gore was so funny, though. I laughed a lot with Gore back then. I mean, I laugh a lot with him now. He's always been funny. But, oh my god. I lived my life, every minute of every day was just with the goal of being able to make him laugh again. Like, that's all I wanted to do, is just make him laugh all the time. It just made me so happy. Who is Steven Crowder? I don't think I know who that is. He's a right-wing grifter. Oh, that's fair. Me and Gore were both raised by right-wing Christian parents, so I think at one point in both of our lives we considered ourselves right-wing, but that was such a long time ago. I've been pagan since at least freshman year of high school, if not longer. So 2013. He's the change my mind guy. Oh, okay. I do know who that guy is. I literally only know him for the change my mind thing, though. I didn't know his name. That's very fascinating. Today I learned. Look, Kula, one thing I will say about myself is I have always been a very devoted lover. For better or for worse. Hello, right-wing, pro-Trump. Oof, yikes. Okay, let's see. I have very much... The original change of my mind was male privilege is a myth. Oof! I did not realize that. Oofies. I'm just gonna go ahead and put this in here. I'll grab it when I need it tomorrow, but I'm gonna grab my bombs. Big oofies. Alright, let's go grab what I need, which is my axe. And my luck today is neutral, so I should be able to at least make it down to floor 25. Hopefully. Ladies and gentlemen. Ooh, ooh. Fizzle, fizzle. Missy! The princess is here! Sierra! Automatic, supersonic, hypnotic, funky, fresh. Work my body so melodic just before I threw my chest. I identify as an attack helicopter. Why is that always the shit that, like, I hear, like, my trans friends that are like, yeah, I used to laugh at these memes, and then it turns out I was trans. And I'm like, oh, It gets me every time. I'm sorry. It cracks me up every time. I'd like to buy a ticket, please. Oh my god, you drunk bitch. Speed it up. Where is she? Where is she? Why are you not at your post, woman? Oh boy. Oh yeah, it's Friday. Fuck, you're so right. This fucking woman. Here, Lewis. Oh, fuck. Here, Lewis. Are we at 2 hearts yet? Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. Okay. I didn't know it was transphobic. Yeah, it is, unfortunately. And we will rock you. Oh, God. Okay. But yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know, man. High school was like an awful time in my life, but also one of like the most memorable times of my life, strangely enough. Also, high school me was not careful. I was fucking any which way. Any which place. I needed to be better about that. Oh wait. I needed to be better about, safer about that. I wasn't being the safest. I tell people I don't care what pronouns they use me for me or call me, and they take it as a fuck pronouns, when in reality I'm just being legit. I don't care what pronoun somebody refers to me as. I identify as mostly female pronouns. Yeah, you sure did. For a long time. Go ahead and fix up my pickaxe. You mean y'all's generation? You are not that much older than us. Are any of these new? No. Alright. Only one thing on my mind. Me and my baby love Saturday nights. Saturday nights. Yeah, you're just like gender fluid, and that's fine. Baby love Saturday nights. Saturday nights. And the dancing and the singing like the weekdays never happened. I should be dancing right now. It's me and my baby love Saturday nights. How was family yoga? You're the same age as my older brother, bro. Y'all are different, but y'all aren't that different, I promise. Also, my older brother's single. Is anybody looking for a man? Please, somebody date this man so that he stops posting sad romance songs on his story every day. I can't do it anymore. He's very handsome. He's in the Marines. He's fit. He's kind. He likes to dance. He's got a great singing voice. He sings country. Somebody please, please take this man from me. I don't really feel like I'm anything. That's valid. Oof. What do I need? Me, my baby love Saturday night. I need another mushroom log. Let's baby. He's in the Marines. What kind of crayons is he like? Oh my fucking god. Look, I know the haha Marines are stupid joke. I promise you he's not. He's handsome, he's smart. Please, somebody take him. He also streams sometimes. Everybody thinks my brother's hot. Please, somebody take him. I got a single Marine sister? Nah, I do have a single sister. Well, I've got a sister. I don't know if she's single. Me and her aren't that close. Oh, thank you. Ooh, I'll take that. Thank you. God, you were good for me today. Where is Elliot? All the way at the beach. Of course he is. Okay. I'll go see him tonight. Marines are good at physical labor. They are. That is true. But yeah, no, I promise he's hot. Please. Somebody take that man. And please, God. He does play WoW, but like, we all can't be perfect. I need to get back into shape myself. I can't keep letting him be the hot sibling. He needs some competition. I have a moon face post giving birth, and I do not like it. I think it looks good for some people. I do not think it looks good for me. I'm used to having a very oval shaped face. It freaks me out. I do not like it. I cannot look at myself in the mirror. I am on the verge of redeveloping an eating disorder. I can't handle this. This is hell. I can't handle it. Makes me panic. I don't like it. I can't let my brother be the hottest one. It's not fair. I'm the only girl. I can't let him also be. I can't be the hottest one. Dreamcell says Neopets. Oh, shit. Hold on. 1 second. I got it. I got it. Alright, it's updated. Should be, at least. Thank you for letting me know. Ugh. Oh, excuse me, slime. I fucking don't mind me. Okay. I panic. I panic. I panic. I love you. Traveling cart lady. Alright, let's see. I definitely also have not knocked off the baby weight. I'm gonna be real. I gained like 80 pounds when I was pregnant, which is crazy because my baby weighed less than a pound when she was born. So she did me dirty, in many ways. Well, sometimes you gotta mix it up. Sometimes you gotta mix it up. You gotta be anti-capitalist, you gotta be capitalist. I don't know what moon face is. It's essentially when your face gets ridiculously round. For no easily discernible reason. What the hell's going on here? Ryan. Oh, is this my cutscene with Elliot? Yeah, it is. Okay. Ryan. What a pleasant surprise. An 8-hour writing session. Damn. Ugh. Oh, I'm constantly mewing for this man. Come here. I got a gift for you. I love you. I love you. Where are our hearts at? Yes. I need to go grab a wedding ring the next time it rains. Oh. Will mewing get rid of Moonface? Real question. Because if so, I might actually do it. God, this song is fucking ridiculous. Oh, sorry, I have to yawn. Oh, we're almost done with the craft room. Metro, don't trust you. I'm gonna shoot. Okay, so I'm supposed to be out here for the festival or whatever the fuck, so I guess I'll just fish. I suppose. Perhaps. I don't know, man. I stress a lot. I stress about my appearance a lot. I live my life in pajama pants and I try not to look at myself directly in the eye in the mirror. Sorry, I realized after I said it that that's like probably like one of the saddest things I could say out loud. But it was really funny to me, so... Sometimes you gotta say things that make yourself look bad because it's funny. It's bedtime. I should let you know this isn't Neopets. I fixed it. I fixed it. I changed it from Neopets. It should be changed. It should be changed. Might be a mobile glitch, maybe. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, my thing says Stardew Valley now. Namiyahara. Alright. Okay, bet. Look, I'd feel much prettier if I was allowed to wear a suit of armor and a dress every single day. But alas, I cannot afford that lifestyle. I cannot afford the lifestyle I would like to live. It's both for you. What the fuck? Ooh, river jelly. I don't know how to make it myself. I don't know. Or steal one? Yeah, I'm just gonna commit a fucking felony. A sword and armor shop near you? Where do you live? Send me your address, real quick. What's Gore's aesthetic or vibe? I would say... probably... what's it called? Dark Academia? He's pretty Dark Academia-ish. Oh, I'm sure she does. Div knows everyone. Yeah, Dark Academia. You know, it's like My Hero Academia, but for gays. I will say, he doesn't dress Dark Academia, but he does enjoy Dark Academia. Like, the aesthetic itself. So, oh, Spirit Eve. Okay. I don't need any of these, do I? No? Okay, good. Gore just kind of dresses in t-shirts and jeans. I don't think either of us really have a sense of, like, or a specific, like, fashion style. We both just kind of wear whatever we have around. Not that, like, that's a bad thing. We just kind of... we don't really take it super seriously. I've wanted to try and take it more seriously, personally, myself. But I just don't have, like, the... I don't have the amount of income... I don't have the income for, the outfits I would like to... for the way I would like to dress, unfortunately. Yeah, he dresses like a dad. Like a millennial dad. I need to actually redo my whole wardrobe because my entire wardrobe is from high school. And I still am, but I was a slut in high school. As you can tell from me talking about my high school experiences. So, I dressed very differently. And so a lot of my outfits either don't fit me anymore now that I've had a baby and have gained weight, or are just not really in my style anymore. Unfortunately. Where's my luck for today? Oh, extra luck. I don't have my axe, so. Alright. Flower bouquet. Library. I have no style, I just wear something clean. That's pretty much where I'm at, yeah. That sums up my style. Is if it's washed, I'll wear it. I'm not proud of it. But it is what it is. Oh, hello. Alright. Go ahead and stack all that. Late capitalism drip? Pretty much, yeah. I don't know. Me in high school was definitely something. I think high school was my peak, and I say that with nothing but embarrassment, because typically when people are like, I peaked in high school, it's like, oh, how sad. And yeah. As somebody who peaked in high school, yeah, it was sad. It's pretty sad. I've got many more years to live. However, I unfortunately peaked in high school. High school was the worst period of my life and also the best period of my life because it was the most interesting. And I was the prettiest I had ever been. I truly have never been as pretty as I was in high school, and it will haunt me for the rest of my days. Dropping milk in. And then we're just gonna drop those off. I have no original experience. Same, bestie, same. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. I was homeless, my parents hated me, nothing ever seemed to work out for me. However, I had friends that at the time deeply loved me. I was desirable, I was pretty, I had partners left and right. Whenever I needed a person, I had a person. I got to live with my friends, which was difficult at times, but also really fun at other times. I was the hot, mysterious chick that smoked cigarettes and looked like she was ready to ruin her life at any opportunity. And honestly, fucking slay, bitch. It could have been worse, that's all I gotta say. I also weighed 80 pounds at almost 6 feet tall, so, you know. It was a little wild. I did not take very good care of myself. You could find me hanging out at your local park, smoking cigarettes and being a generalized menace. Oh my god, there you are, thank you. I also had my fainting condition that I have now, but it did not affect me nearly as badly as it does now. So I definitely do miss that. Because, that shit sucks. I, like, practically ever fainted back then. I feel like that's all I do now. Yes, I know I don't have my pickaxe. I'm just blowing shit up. It's a good luck day. Damn. Excuse me. I don't know what you think peak was. That. Look, it was a rough period. It really was the best of times, the worst of times. Shit was rough. But also... I was hot. And if that does not just sum up my high school experience, I don't know what else will. Shit was rough. I was hot. I'm just out here taking unnecessary amounts of damage. It's fine. Oh god, dragon. Of course that didn't kill you. Why would it? Why would it have? Fucking bitch. Why would it have? I will say, I look like a... Gore says I look like a MILF now. I don't think I do. I think I just look like a middle-aged woman. But I guess that's what a MILF is. I don't know. 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 I think everybody's peak is coming after the market crashes. Agreed. So fucking true. Hand out, hand out, hand out. Powder melon seeds. I don't know. I guess we'll see. I don't know. I'd pull up a photo of me in high school, but I think all of the ones that I'm really proud of, like I said, was a whore. So, I think all the ones that I'm really proud of are not safe for work. Oh god, what is wrong with me? Do you ever just look back into your history and you're just like, God. The fuck is wrong with me? Oh, good. I know I have a lot of photos of me and Gore from high school, because like I said, I was like obsessed with him. So, you know how it is. Sometimes you just obsess with a man and your phone becomes full of photos of him, which is definitely going to come back and bite you in the ass if the two of y'all never got together or broke up if y'all did get together later on. Oh god. Y'all are learning a lot about me. Y'all are learning a lot of my lore today. I got loose lips. Gore's like, please tighten them. Please, for the love of God. Do I have wood posts in here? I do. Alright. Winklevoss, like Winklevoss twins? If y'all knew who I'm talking about, I'm so sorry. Oh my yak, I wanna dance, come get your man. Okay, I will say none of the photos are like NSFW. Like they're not. I don't think any of them would count as like get me in trouble with the court of law. I didn't start doing like NSFW stuff and like photo wise until I was in my late teens, like 19, 20. 18, 19, 20. I started sex work when I was 18, almost 19. So yeah, the 18, 19, 20 range. However, I just don't think Twitch would like some of them. Not that, like, again, not that they're like explicit, but just like the way I dressed back then was definitely something. Let's see. Wait. Wait! How many times... Fuck, right, the festival. I was like, how many times can I fuck this up before... Think you want a dream away. Well, I guess I'll fish. Ugh. I don't know, I definitely had more interest in me back when I was in high school. But maybe it's also because, oh, the guys I was trying to attract at that time were also in high school, and high school guys are just horny as fuck. Mayhaps. I don't know. I just feel like as I've gotten older, I've gotten uglier? Question mark? Eh, but who cares? I'm married, so it doesn't matter. I'm not trying to impress anyone anymore anyways. So... Who do I have left to impress? I think I've gotten uglier as I've aged. For sure. I think the years have not been kind to me. I think the stress has not been kind to me. That being said, I am already married. Who the fuck cares? You know what I mean? Like, who am I trying to impress? I'm married. God, why am I so sleepy all of a sudden? Oh, because it's almost 9. That's why. That makes sense. I feel like I've been playing through Fall in Stardew Valley forever. But I know it's almost winter. Winter hits tomorrow, so... Ooh, a chub. Those are my favorite. I love chubs. Man, I could have modeled before. I'm gonna be so real with you, bestie. I was really pretty back then. And I didn't think I was pretty at all back then, which is the biggest mistake of it all, is that I didn't even think I was pretty at all then. So I didn't appreciate it, and I didn't use it to its full advantage. And I'm like, man. Man, I should have taken that up. I should have taken that to its full advantage. If I only got this far, this adventure of a night. Let me through. Ooh. Sorry, not to sit here and be like, I was hot! I realize that that's not interesting to most. Oh god, what's wrong with me? I just sit on a topic and I either harp on the topic or I sit on the topic for like 5 seconds. Look. Maybe the model industry would have been kinder to me than the rest of life. I doubt it, but perhaps. Yeah, I'm on the shoot, baby. Oh god. Thank you so much for the hydrate. I am drinking a Baja Blast again. I feel like I'm always drinking Baja Blast. It's a little embarrassing, actually. Second passing reminds me I'm not home. Bright lights and city sounds are ringing like a drum. Unknown. Man, I hit that note strangely. I did not like the way I hit that note. Can I gather you? Oh. Yeah, sure. Sure. Down the boulevard, cocaine dollar bills and a happy little pill. Take me away. Dry my eyes, bring color to my skies, my sweet little pill. Lay my heart down, lie within, numb my skin. Alright, cool. Secret painting god. My message is money hurt, tummy hurt. Mint chocolate chip ice cream and monster. What the fuck is wrong with you? Why would you do that? No, no, no. No, I'm not being kind to you about that. That just sounds like a natural disaster. What were you thinking? Oh, right, this is the maze. Oh, are you too scared, pussy? Alright, we're gonna take the rare... jack-o'-lantern recipe. I will take that. What do you mean you don't know how these skeletons are walking? Red eyes, color to my skies, my sweet little pill. Take my hunger, hide within, plumb my skin. I don't fucking think about anything. That is so true. God, you've never said anything more true, bestie. Oh god, I gotta talk to everybody to up my hearts with everybody. Oh, you did a great job carving those jacks. Oh, lanterns. I don't know why I just called them jacks. Alright, let's get it. Maru, you're by the entrance. You're not lost, I promise. Harvey? You came there to hide. Alright. Hey, don't be mean to me. Don't call me names. I'll get you. Maybe walk away from the cauldron. Baba Yaga! I love you so I won't cause psychological damage, such as... What are you threatening me with, sir? There is a secret passage, you're just too dumb to find it. Aw, she can't go on. Spiders. My girl's got a spider phobia. Bestie. I'll tell Drake you exist. Oh, he doesn't want me. He only likes kids. I am of no interest to that man. He has no interest in me, bestie. I'll take a gravestone, yeah. I'm gonna make my daughter a nice little area, I think. The wizard? Alright. Apparently he likes dogs too. Yeah. Yeah, apparently he does like dogs. Yeah. That's a nice way to word it. Broken. Love. Broken. Broken. Love. Broken. Where should I put it? I don't know. We're just gonna hold on for now. I don't know where I want to put it yet. Oop, not there. Drake has that dog in him. Drake's in that dog is what it is. Unfortunately, Drake does not have that dog in him. However, he is in that dog. And somehow I think that's worse. It's far worse. Is it? Or do you just mean what I just said is far worse? Or are you implying that what I know is not all of it? In which case, I'm terrified. I'm scared to know what you mean. I had a whole collab plan where we would go through the beef, but this forced me to cancel it because shit's gone too far. Yeah, that's very fair. Okay, all I know, and Kula, fill me in if I'm wrong. All I know is that some audios came out of Drake doing something with a dog, but I don't know exactly what because nobody will say it, and I refuse to listen to that audio. So I imagine he, was in that dog, to say it lightly. But I'm not sure if that is truly the case. Oh yeah, I know Kendrick knows more. I know he does. Kendrick knows too much, somehow. It was a video sent to DJ Academics. Okay, yeah, so I did know that it was DJ Academics posted it. I did know that. Excuse me? Yeah, I guess he did, unfortunately. Cause, not a good time out here. Alright, I need to go to Marnie's. And I guess I'll gather some hay while I'm out. But yeah, so that's what I do know. I don't know anything besides that, however. Just that the video was sent to Academics, and that it depicts him doing something, question mark. It's supposed to really be released tomorrow if they don't apologize. Oh. Yeah, so I know that Kendrick did accuse him of trafficking, which is a crazy accusation, on the best of days. And an even crazier accusation after the week that Drake has had. Ooh, survival burgers. Those are good to have. Well, something is obviously up. Drake and his family are back in France. Well, so I know that he's been selling all of his property that he had in the US prior to all of this, however. Out of what I've heard, at least. Him selling all of that, I already have a heater. I don't need another one. Out of what I've heard, he was already selling all of his properties prior to everything that happened. But it is definitely sus that after all of this happened, Boy packed up and went back to France. It's definitely something, man. Shit's wildin'. God, now you screaming at Penny as I walk by. Ooh boy, that's fleeing the country. Well, he's gonna claim that he's going to visit his kid. If I recall correctly, Adonis, his son, his mom is French. And if I recall correctly, Drake paid his mother enough money to have a nice little setup out there in France. And so, if memory serves, he can just claim he was going to see his son. Oh, I didn't already buy a heater. Could have sworn I did. So... And that's if my memory serves correctly. I could be completely wrong. I think it would, if he can prove that he had pre-existing plans to go out there. Which means get his baby mama to back. That the two of them had spoken earlier over the phone, that the two of them were meant to meet up. But who knows, really, at the end of the day. I'll probably end up not working tomorrow. What would you do tomorrow instead of work, sir? Also, I'm not insulted that I'm not your favorite person. So if that's what you were attempting to do, it did not work. You have failed. It also depends on the kind of charges. Yeah, that's also true. That may not even be something he has to answer for at all. Celebrities do just be going wherever they want. You know what? That's so true, Kula. You would just insult me, so I'll take it. Alright, let's see how far I can make it. I don't have any rock candies. Give me a tunnel. Not stairs, a tunnel. Please and thank you. Alright, I guess I'll take a ladder. Really wanted a tunnel, but I'll take a ladder. Sorry, I just realized I'm forcing y'all to listen to actual jazz. There we go, shaft. Oh, dinosaur level. Great. Oh my god, it hurts. I forgot how bad the dinosaurs hurt. Ow. Why does Stardew have dinosaurs? Why do they have dragons? They have dragons on these floors. Assholes. Ow. Hi, trash bag number 4. What happened to trash bags 1 through 3? Are they all alright? Perish bat. Please stop blowing fire at me. Please stop. Ow. Fucking hurts. Please stop it. Don't. Will one of you have the way out? Ugh. But they are yellow and blue. I don't know anybody yellow and blue. Except for Ducky. But Ducky doesn't stream, so I know you're not leaving me for Ducky. You know, that sounded petty when I said it the way I did, but I didn't mean it to sound like that. Fuck. Your garden. Your garden. Why do I have to kill all these dinosaurs? Why is this what God has required of me? I did not ask for this. Please perish. Please perish. Thank you. They're all gone. Oh god, what'd you do to them? Ah! Fucking rude. Jesus. Hey. This song's about eating pussy. My favorite subgenre. Just kidding, I've never done it. Ironically enough, I've done a lot of things in my life. Eating pussy, not on that list. I know, I'm a fucking liar. Cool, you haven't done anything. What do you mean, same? Should try it sometime. Highly recommend. Do you? Do you highly recommend? Since when? I didn't know this. What? Depends on what the fuck you mean by muffins. I don't know what that means, sir. I have very sensitive senses. I've heard that can be a problem. I have indeed heard that that can be a bit of a dilemma. In the, puss-eating adventures. Oh, muff. I think it does count, personally. But that's just me. Never tried with a penis, though? Fair. I have, many times. Ooh. Nice. Now I don't have to stay here. Look. I think... I wouldn't be against it, I don't think. I've never had the opportunity. The opportunity has yet to present itself. I almost had an opportunity once upon a time, back in my youth. However, that was a very long time ago. And I fumbled the bag. And also, her braces cut the hell out of my lip, so... But I have heard eating people out, especially for people who are on the spectrum, can be uncomfortable due to texture and taste. Sorry, I can't eat you out, I have ARFID. Sorry! That thought just popped into my head and I was like, damn. That's a banger right there. I want it on a t-shirt. Just on a t-shirt. Sorry, I can't eat you out. I have ARFID. Oh, not you stealing my words for a tweet. You fucking asshole. ARFID. A food restrictive intake diet or something like that. It's ARFID. It's like an eating disorder that frequently people with autism have. I said something else. Yeah, it's very often it's very frequent or common for people with autism to have ARFID because it's like a food restrictive thing where they struggle to eat anything that's not considered a safe food. Oh Jesus, help me. They struggle to eat anything that's not considered a safe food. Because their autism just keeps them from doing so. I'm being called out. No, you're not! It's just a fact! And like, it like causes like actual like extreme anxiety. To eat things that are not, that your brain doesn't consider safe. Yeah, it's very common for kids with ARFID to refuse to try new foods because they're scared of them. Not me accidentally informing Yigi of a condition she may have had. Hey. Shit. Shaft, please take me down far enough. 8 levels? Yes! I've just discovered I don't want to be here anymore. I don't like mac and cheese because it has a weird texture. Interesting. That's not something I hear commonly. And... mac and cheese is always a safe food for me. To the point that, like, when I was pregnant, if I ever felt like I was gonna puke, but I needed to eat, I would just eat mac and cheese. Ooh. I'd be extremely avoidant until I had to. Fascinating. Yeah, there's a chance. There may have been a little bit of ARFID. Not to, like, pocket diagnose you or anything. I'm not a fucking psychiatrist, but... I'm like, don't let me armchair diagnose you, but... maybe you had it, maybe you didn't. Who knows? Winter! It is winter! Yippee! Yipperunos! Alright, I think I'll start with winter next stream. Oh, I left all my doors open. Uh-oh, they're gonna be so fucking cold. That's okay. I had a good run. I made it down to level 25, which was a necessary adjustment. We played some Neopets, which is always fun. I ranted about how much I hate the government. It's winter. The winter, my dears, it's winter. Let's see, who's all streaming? We'll raid Basil, since we talked about naming my future kid Basil today. And Gore immediately shot it down. Jerk. Jork. Oh, we'll raid Basil. I am gonna go take a load off, maybe take a bath, watch some Bridgerton, and then I'm gonna be off for the next 2 days. I'm doing Mother's Day stuff with Gore and Bunny tomorrow, and then I'm also going antique shopping to buy Ducky some rubber ducks on Wednesday. So I won't be back till Thursday, but I promise it won't be too long. So I will see y'all Thursday. I love you much. Mwah. Be good for Basil, okay? Be kind. Thank you for the 5 bits, Morrison. Fuck. Sorry, I burped. And I'll see y'all on Thursday. Bye-bye. Get high on fake.